All right, Rob. So last night in a pivotal game, game fives are always very pivotal, and Nikola Jokic led the Denver Nuggets to a victory 112-97 over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Game 6 tomorrow night back in Minnesota, but Denver leads 3-2. They were down 0-2. And so quite a comeback by them to win the next 3 games. But Jokic, Rob, was just spectacular. There's no other way to
That's the best way to describe him, Chris.
Yeah,
spectacular.
Phenomenal, spectacular, incredible. 40 points, 13 assists, 7 rebounds, no turnovers.
Chris, there it is. We were talking about Caitlin Clark with the more than turnovers than Pillsbury. Can you imagine no turnovers with 40 points? No turnovers.
And he's the primary ball handler to a large degree for them. 15 for 22 from the field. And, Rob, I was saying today on First Things First, I after they won the championship last year, I had him rated as the 7th best center all time behind Kareem, Russell, Shaq, Wilt, Olajuwon, and Moses Malone. And I'm not just doing this based on last night. It's everything watching him. And we'll see whether he wins the championship this year or not. I'm moving him ahead in my list. I'm moving him ahead of Moses Malone. So now I've got him 6th and trying to chase down Olajuwon to get in my top 5 for what that's worth. But the dude does everything, Rob. And last night all his skills were on display. Say he didn't rebound as well as usual, but,
Yeah, 7 is a small number for him.
That.
That is a small number.
Right.
Chris, I think there's a couple things here. And it's not that you can have a different opinion on who you want to vote for MVP and you come up with your points or whatever. But some of the stuff that we heard last year and this year, almost like wanting to discredit him.
This year?
Yeah. After they lost the first 2 games. Yeah, after he lost the first 2 games, I think people were ready to pounce to say that he wasn't that guy. That they neutralized him. Oh, look, he can't do this. Like after those first 2 games, I got a sense that people were ready to say, okay, well, he won those 3 MVPs, but I really don't know because he never beat a team with more than 50 wins. There were always something to hang on to.
Those are facts.
No, I get it.
He never beat a playoff team. This will be the first 50-win or 50-plus win playoff team, 50 or better win playoff team that he beats. In the
it was.
I didn't sense. Go ahead. I just didn't sense a lot of that people were thinking he wasn't as good as we thought.
We had last year Perkins saying that the only
that's last year.
No, but I just want to make the point that he was a stat stuffer. And he only was winning MVPs because he was white and all kinds of other stuff.
That was just one guy.
But it's a guy on a national platform. I'm just talking about what he said. And my issue was that this guy has put in a Herculean effort. And if he does this, I heard Colin on our very radio network now talk about him being in the top 10 on his list, Chris. Something I said before the playoffs started. I said if he wins the 3rd MVP in 4 years and they win another title, I'm going to have him in my top 10 because that's the kind of resume he's put together. And now he's turned it up even a bigger degree because he was down 0-2 on the ropes, losing 2 games at home, and he didn't play that great. He played okay in one game and not great in the other. They got blown out, embarrassed in game 2 at home. And for him to turn that around, for them to be as dominant as they can when everybody thought that the Timberwolves had their number and they had the formula to neutralize them and all this other stuff, and for him to be this dominant in the next 3 games, I think they're going to close it out and Minnesota won't win another game. And if this propels them to that back-to-back championship, which I think they're going to get, I don't care who comes out of the East, I believe this team is going to win another championship.
Beat Boston for sure.
Yeah,
they win the West. Yeah,
where they are and whatnot, to me it's hard. I don't know what it'll take for people, even with Shaq's comments that he didn't think he deserved it, which is fine. I said it's his opinion. That's fine. I just think that there's people were waiting and hoping. That's just the way I read the room. I could be totally wrong. I got the sense after they fell behind 0-2 and everybody wrote them off, they wrote him off out of disrespect to him, that he wasn't going to be able to turn it around. He wasn't going to be able to regroup against that team. Chris, even you said they look like a suburban team playing a team from the hood. It looks like they were being – I'm just saying, like,
I'm just saying
just your analogy. Look like they were being –
I'm not running from that analogy. That's what they look like in game 2.
Right. But I think there was a bit of that, and now people are having to rethink that, and I think he's here to stay. This dude is a
here
monster.
To stay, Rob.
I
think you're overstating the hate.
No, I think the hate was real.
You think somebody thought he wasn't here to stay?
If they would have lost,
who thought he wasn't here to stay?
If they would have lost this series, Chris, coming off the championship, yes. Had they been swept,
that have meant?
Had they been swept, that maybe he ain't that guy. He ain't no top 10 player. How did you win a championship?
He ain't a top 10 player yet.
Okay,
he's
in your
29
opinion.
years old.
I get that.
No, who was right? I'm just saying. I think you're way overstating. Now people are writing off the Nuggets.
No, they were writing off him. There's nobody else. There's nobody else on that team that's an all-star. They were writing him off. No, they weren't writing off the Nuggets. They were saying he couldn't do it.
Okay. Can I? You've said your case. I'm a rebut it. Even if their team were to lose the series, that doesn't mean you're not saying he's a great player. I mean, anybody that would say, if they had gotten swept, anybody who would have fixed their mouth to say he's not great would have been out of their minds. Seriously. And to write him off forever, he's 29 years old. He got another 10 years if he wants it to play. He's got another at least 6 or 7, if not more, to be dominant. So I don't know. I just think you're way overstating. Now, saying his team would lose doesn't mean you're saying he's not great. You know how many times Shaq was swept? Shaq was swept like 6 times, I think. I mean, and when the year Shaq didn't win the championship, that didn't mean he wasn't great. The years LeBron didn't win the championship, that didn't mean he wasn't great. So I just think you're going overboard. If you want to say people wrote off the Nuggets, fine. And they did, and I did. But to say I certainly wasn't thinking Jokic wasn't great. And I don't know I can't think of anybody in their right mind that would say if they got swept in this series, he wasn't great.
They were ready to pounce on that guy.
Who's they? You bring up Kendrick Perkins. Hold on. You bring up Kendrick Perkins from more than a year ago, before Jokic won his first championship.
No, I'm talking about
totally
Chris.
Different context.
Chris, I was there when the Pistons and they beat Shaq and Kobe, even when they were down in the series, okay? Everybody, I remember I was there. Oh, the Lakers, when they lost game 1, okay, and then
what's
Shaq
that got
and
to
Kobe,
do with this?
I'm trying to make the point that they didn't rule out Shaq. Even
Shaq
though they
had 3 championships.
It doesn't matter. He has one, and they already were ruling him out. They were ruling him out.
3 championships to 1.
They were ruling him out because they wanted to, and they were hoping that this was going to be a one-time championship, and he wasn't that guy. He's proven people wrong
in the world can you
that he was going to be able to bounce back. I'm just telling you.
The dude's numbers are fantastic. His play is unlike anything we've ever seen. He's invented the point center position.
And yet, when he went down 0-2, everybody threw the towel in on him. They didn't throw it in on the Nuggets. They threw it in on him. No.
It's a team game. And you mentioned Shaq and Kobe. Shaq and Kobe. That's why people didn't write him off, because it wasn't just Shaq. Like I said, we saw Shaq get swept time and time again.
You don't write off a champion against the team, Chris, that you said before the playoffs started, you didn't buy into the Timberwolves because they were too young and they hadn't been on that road.
What I said is let's see. Every time we talk to Antonio Daniels, I was like, let's see. I want to see if OKC and Minnesota are for real because they're young. We got to see something from them. But my point is, writing off the Nuggets is not writing off Nikola Jokic. Like, we're writing off the Lakers. Does that mean we think Anthony Davis ain't no good?
No, but we know LeBron can't win no championship, so that's why you write him off. Chris, you don't believe LeBron's going to win another championship, do you?
No, but
okay, then that's writing him off. That's writing him off.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you're saying he's not a good player. You act like people are saying Jokic couldn't play.
No, that what people were saying and hoping and wishing was that he got swept.
You're assuming a lot.
Yes,
hoping
I am.
And wishing.
I'm reading the room and I'm reading the comments on how people bailed
I don't know
on
who
this
player.
They bailed on him as soon as there was blood in the water.
The championship?
As soon as there was blood in the water, they ran from him. They're going to get swept. They're not that good. Oh, Rob, look at the Nuggets. They've neutralized him.
They are going to get swept. We wrote off Giannis too. Does that mean people think he's not great? I mean, sir, that's all I'm saying. If you want to say people wrote off the Nuggets, they did. People think Jokic, he just won his third MVP in 4 years.
They still wrote him off as soon as there was one chink in the armor, that one thing went wrong. They were down 0-2. Oh, my God. Look at them. They've got the magic formula. They neutralized them. Look, he was
are we talking
terrible
about
in
Denver
game
or
two.
are we talking about him? Because he's not beating them by himself. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a team game, Rob. Nobody was there years when LeBron was in his prime when we say he's not going to win the championship. So we thought he couldn't play anymore? Giannis, we're saying he's smack dab in the middle of his prime. He wasn't going to win it this year. Does that mean we think he couldn't play? Did we think Embiid was going to win it? No. I picked the Knicks to beat Embiid. Does that mean I think he can't play? Or that wasn't worthy of his one MVP? That's what I just don't. Again, if you want to say people underestimate the Nuggets, like you said, he doesn't have another all-star teammate. So really, I mean, I think people questioning the rest of those guys. It was Jamal Murray's not having a great postseason other than hitting the game-winning shots. I mean, I don't know who was right now. And again, you brought up Kendrick Perkins, and that was fine, but that's a whole different context. That was before Jokic had won anything. So and that was, he brought in race, but I don't know. I disagree. I don't think people were writing off Jokic, even as they thought this team might lose.